Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. We hadn't really done any work with race trucks so far this winter, but my first project here that I've worked on in quite a while, other than we have built a new house, it's a pole barn home. I may go into detail on it once we get a little further along with it. The shell's up, we're waiting on concrete. But next summer, I've already had this Massey. I've had it for probably 6 or 7 years, and I let it sit for the past couple of years, and because it needed some things, the fuel tank rusted up on it, which we've been trying to get cleaned out here this week. I had a flat tire on it, and the 3-point arm was stuck up. I already took care of the tire. I had a new one mounted on it a couple weeks ago. We got the 3-point back working. The ram cylinder itself actually had froze up. It's got a dust cover on the back over top of the draft control, and it came off and let water go down in it, and it froze that ram up. We ended up able to get it work back free, so it works now. Changed the oil, and we changed the hydraulic fluid in it. Now we're looking to go ahead and get that fuel tank stuck back on, get the hood back on it, and hopefully be able to have this to work on my property and keep it maintained next summer. So that's our first project today, and then looking after this, I'm going to go ahead and pull my K30 in, my crew cab, and we're going to go ahead and put gauges in it that I got. I got a new set of auto meters for it, and the factory gauges I don't 100% trust. They jump around some, so I'd just rather have these mechanical gauges in it, but hope y'all enjoy the content. I'm trying to get this evaporator rust out. I'm going to run it through a rag, just trying to strain it out. It's reusable. So we'll get the rust out with the rag, hopefully, if this works out. If not, we'll just make a big mess. This stuff went in clear, as you can tell. It's pretty murky now. It did a pretty good job inside the tank. It's not perfect, but it got most of the heavy crusties off. I think good enough that at least if we run a couple fuel filters on it, we'll be in good shape. Drain some of that down. So we also had marbles in this tank, so I have to get this evaporator rust out, try to shake it around and get these marbles out. Yesterday we drove around with it in the bed of the truck, just trying to get all this stuff to slosh around and break up some of this rust. It did a pretty good job. Like I said, it's not perfect. It's not a new tank by any means, but for a $25 fix, it beats $300 for a new tank. The tractor, you just can't hardly justify spending a whole lot of money on. But we have it, and it's nice to have it back running. After a little trying, we finally got all the marbles removed from the tank, and I looked down inside and there was still some sediment left in it from the rust. So I decided I should probably run to the gas station, get some diesel, and flush it out a little bit better. Getting ready to make a quick trip to the gas station so I can get a couple gallons of diesel fuel. It's still got some sediment left in the bottom of that tank, and I want to be able to flush it out so before I put the new sediment bowl I bought on it and the new fuel filter. At least try and get the heavy off so that way I don't have to worry about it. While I'm on the trip here, might as well go over here the race situation here. Obviously we've been building the house, like I said in the beginning of the video, so I haven't really had time to mess with my race trucks very much. My plan is, I'd like to upgrade that 565. When I built it, I just had Flotex put on it, which are a cheaper set of entry-level heads. They've done well with the truck, but honestly I'd like some more power out of it. And I've got a 496 going together as well right now. It's a steel-headed motor. It's got a set of Pro Top Line 320s for it, and it should be together for this summer. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do. I've almost considered putting this 496 down in that teal truck right now that we've been running the 565 in, and then building a whole new chassis for this 565, but I haven't decided. We may just leave it in what it's in, and of course I still have that budget build truck, so we may end up just putting the budget build back together with the 496, but I'm not sure. I thought about just building the 496 as well and putting in my orange truck, but the orange truck, it runs so well. I really, honestly, I hate to spoil the 460 that's in it out to put the 496 in it. So I haven't really decided yet, but that's kind of the dilemma right now. But we are working on getting the motor together to replace either the budget build or pull the 565 out so we can build something new there. we'll see what happens here down the road. I still, of course, we probably have 4 months at least until we start racing, so we've got time to start building. Of course, been busy getting ready to start hopefully doing some framing on the inside of my house, so that'll take up quite a bit of my time. So racing stuff's kind of been on the back burner. I do apologize for the no videos here for a good while, but we'll get back to doing them in a groove here. Right now I'm waiting on concrete at the place, so I got plenty of time to make a few videos. Of course, I got my C30 as well, the crew cab C30. I don't think it's ever been on the channel before. I'm going to be putting head gaskets on it here in a video or two, and I think I may go ahead and put a cam in it. Just going to use a Summit brand cam, so we can do a review on that if y'all like, but hope y'all enjoy the rest of the video. Like I said, just putting this diesel fuel in here, trying to flush out some of this old sediment that's in the bottom. Didn't get very much, just enough to hopefully flush it out before we put on a new fuel filter and a new sediment bowl on this. I'm sure it'll come out pretty nasty. Pretty brown and murky as I figured it would. I'm gonna have to flush it one more good time, like this. Hopefully save on my sediment bowl a little bit by flushing it. Here's a wrench.
Get it back over the other side. I think you have to point in that general direction somewhere.
Got the fuel tank set on top of the tractor, and it was time to go ahead and start running our fuel lines through it. I ended up just picking up new 5/16 line to go with our new sediment bowl, and I also picked up a new fuel filter. I went with clear so that way I could see what debris was running through it, as the tank wasn't perfectly clean. Make sure you get your fuel filters to carb, or else it will not run right. Last thing to do with our fuel system was just to bolt our fuel tank in place. I was able to use the 2 back bolts, however the 2 front bolts were stripped, so wasn't able to use those. However, this should hold it in. It's not like we're going out drag racing or anything with it, so not going to get too rowdy. Essentially, in order to prime this sediment bowl, you have to crack the valve open, and you need to go ahead and loosen up the bowl from the assembly itself, so that way fuel will start draining into it. And once the fuel starts draining into it, go ahead and tighten the bottom of the assembly bowl back up, and you're good to go. getting close to getting this project done and getting the next one in. Working on getting the battery cables off. They're in pretty rough shape, so I like to replace them. Like here, it's completely wore through, and down here, most of the wires going to this crimp is broke off. So I'd assume just go ahead and fix all this one here and have it in the garage. So at least we'll be halfway reliable to start. The negative ground cable, it was the wrong clamp. A lot smoky, actually. Next step was getting the seat back on it so we had somewhere to sit. The seat was pretty rough, but once again, hard to justify getting a whole new seat for it. As you can see, it's kind of hard to get up in here and do all this stuff. That's the nut I was trying to get on. This right here is the bolt. That right there is the bolt for the radiator. That's the nut I'm trying to get on. Of course, it's just kind of like a shoulder bolt that goes up through this and lets it all go together. But it's kind of a pain to get this hood on, honest to goodness. But I about got both sides on, and then we're done with this project. This is pretty much a wrap on at least getting the tractor back to the point I can use it again. It's not perfect, but at least it's fairly usable, and I should be able to get plenty of use bush hogging it this summer and maintaining my property. As you notice, it definitely smokes up. However, since the time I've had this tractor, it's always smoked, so not a big concern there. We've always had to add a little oil after using it, but for the most part, it really shouldn't see more than a few hours a month, just bush hogging or using it as a grade plate around the property, but glad it's back together. Well, now on to the second project of the day. This time, a slightly larger project, but not too bad. We're just installing a set of gauges that I bought for the truck in it for now. The gauges I'm installing is just a pair of autometer mechanical gauges. Personally, I prefer having mechanical gauges over digital gauges. In this case, I just wanted something so that way if we start towing with the truck, I can make sure we're still getting a good water temperature and a good oil pressure reading out of it, because I don't 100% trust the 30-year-old gauges that's in the truck. My favorite spot to mount a set of aftermarket gauges in a square body is right underneath the ashtray. They're easy to see, and the spread on the ashtray bolts is perfect, so you don't have to hack up the dash. We did the oil pressure first. My dad sent it in through the cab to me, so that way I can get it worked over to the gauge rather than just being able to pull on it and risk breaking it. Of course, it's never a comfortable task laying in the rusty floorboards with rocker panels that are half missing cutting into your sides, but not too bad of a job, and we did get it done. Overall, we had a pretty successful Sunday. Of course, got my Massey back to the point it runs again, and we can use it around my place. Of course, it smokes, so that's kind of inconvenient, but I can't justify go ahead and spending $500 or $600 on a rebuild kit. And I've seen several of those blocks crack in half when you go to press the sleeves out, so that's just something I not really want to risk over what it's worth. Overall, it'll get everything I need to do done with it, and even if we had to put oil in it, no big deal. Of course, the K30, we pulled it in and we put a set of autometer gauges in it. Got that done, and I took it to for a test drive. I didn't record the test drive. I should have, hindsight, but I did not. And the oil pressure gauge, rather, it read right on par with how it's supposed to, pretty much with the factory one. However, the water temp gauge, it varied. It actually ran hotter off the autometer, which I'm more inclined to believe the autometer, as sometimes that water temp gauge, the factory one, jumped around anyway. It ran around 205 to 210 degrees, which is definitely hotter than I like, but it's not hot enough to hurt anything. So I'll probably change the thermostat, put it like a 180 thermostat, because I'm going to assume it maybe has a 195 or so in it. So that could be part of our problem, but we'll go ahead and change that out, as easy as that would be to do. And hopefully that fixes that problem and no other major issues. Of course, you see the C30 is pulled in here right now. This is our next project that we're going to go on. I got to put head gaskets on it. I've had this truck for a long time, and the head gaskets, not shortly after I had it, I believe it was actually sold to me with that head gaskets, and I didn't really pay attention to it because I just wanted it mostly because of this crew cab C30. And anyway, it needs head gaskets put on it. So that's going to be our next video coming up on the channel. Be sure to be on the lookout for it, and I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.